Well, hello, everyone. This is Mikey, and look who we have here. Oh my goodness, it's the Myki Laughs Show, and with me is Barbara Socher, and she is a self mastery, no self
Self-discovery
discovery.
life mastery trainer.
All right,
Life
I just
mastery
got
trainer.
frozen that. I'm so excited to have you, Barbara. I'm so excited to have you. It's just so nice that you could have come at such short notice. I know that you're a busy woman. I don't take your time for granted. It's just so nice to have you. All right, guys.
Well,
So
thank you. It was very kind of you.
thank
Yeah.
you. All right, now the journey of becoming self-aware is a process of self-discovery. And that starts with asking yourself some questions. And that forces us to think a little bit. But sometimes we get so very busy and we're just running around like chickens without heads. And we don't have time to sit and we don't have time to quiet ourselves. And this is why it's just so very nice that we have people like Barbara because she takes the time. She knows how important that is. All right. And then she realizes that having a set of tools that are like an operating manual for our lives is just so profound. And Barbara believes that thriving as opposed to surviving is vital for our well being. She says that stress management and focused attention are keys to success. Recognizing patterns of sabotage and learning to eliminate them are skills that are not at everybody's fingertip. So she realizes that these are skills that need to be taught. Barbara teaches people to be deliberate and to be decisive because she thinks that these are essential tools to get the job done. Through one to one and group coaching, Barbara teaches life transforming skills and sets her clients on a clear path to success. I'm so glad to have her here with me this evening. Oh my goodness, and we were just having a little bit of a discussion, and I'm thinking that maybe at the end of this, I will make an appointment to sit with Barbara so that she could give me a little sorting out and maybe I'll discover one or two more things and some more skills that I pretty much have to offer. All
Yeah,
right, so Barbara,
absolutely.
why don't we just start off with your giving me a little, just give me a little background of maybe where you started, how you started. Just go ahead and give me a little background of you.
Sure, sure. Thank you very much for taking the time to invite me for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. So, a little bit about me. I was born right after the Ice Age
Hmm.
in New Jersey, and my family, my family, very caring. Lower middle class, and they worked their way up to middle class. Just hardworking people from Eastern Europe.
Hmm.
I say that because I believe our background is a big influence on who we
Oh
are,
yes.
right? And somehow I never felt really like I was in the right place. I always felt like I was uncomfortable in my own skin. And I spent a lot of my youth just reading and spending a lot of time in the library, escaping really,
Wow.
reading lots of books. And when it time to go to school, all my friends went off to college, and I wanted to have that experience. And so I wound up from New Jersey, I wound up going to Kansas. And back in those days, that was like going to the moon.
Oh my
It was really like, who goes to Kansas, right? In 1963.
goodness.
And I did. And that was a great experience. And in those days, women were one of three things. You were either a nurse,
Uh-huh.
a teacher, or a secretary.
Okay.
And the only reason I became a teacher was because the only thing I knew how to do well was to read. So I became an English teacher. I mean, really, quite
Well, we
honestly,
started
that's
the
what I
same way.
did.
I became an English teacher myself.
There you go. There you go. And I loved teaching, but when I went back to New Jersey, they had me teaching these kids how to diagram sentences. Remember the old grammatical form of diagramming
Uh-huh.
sentences? And these kids couldn't even read. And when they offered me a full-time position, I declined it because they didn't want me to teach them what they needed to know, which was to read. They wanted me to teach them grammar. So my teaching career was very short-lived. I was very disillusioned.
Oh wow.
And I started traveling. Yeah, it was just I didn't feel they needed another unhappy teacher, really. And I was 20, 20, I was 21 and just full of ideas about what could be, and it didn't fit with me.
Right.
So I started traveling. I wound up going out west and meeting the man that I eventually married.
Aw,
And
so something good came
a
out of
year after
that.
absolutely. And a year after we got married, he went to Vietnam, and I stayed home and became a
Oh,
mom.
wow.
So when he came back from Vietnam, we were two different people, right?
Oh, my
Two
goodness.
different, totally different people. So we spent some time traveling in Mexico in a camper, just spending a lot of time together. And we wound up creating a import business. So for many years, I was an importer of folk art from Latin America. And that's how I started out just in the world as a married woman,
Right.
right? And that was pretty cool. I loved that, you know. And from there, done a lot of different things. I left my husband after about 10 years. It just wasn't working out.
Mhm.
And my son and I moved to New Mexico, and I started a whole new life in New
Oh,
Mexico.
wow.
And I was property manager there and started a business for somebody there. And then I wasn't happy there. And everywhere I went, I was sure that it was their fault. You understand what I'm saying, Mike?
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
it
my
was their
husband's
fault.
fault. It was
Never had anything to do with you.
nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. If they would just do what I wanted them to do, everything would be perfect.
Right.
But nobody was listening, right? So then I went to California and I met somebody working on her doctoral degree.
Mhm.
And I started a business called Guided Travel, and we're taking people to sacred places for personal growth experiences in Mexico.
Mhm.
And that was very interesting for about 5 years. And then I wasn't happy, and I'm sure it was their fault.
Of
I'm
course.
positive.
Of course.
So I was running out of cotton at that point, so I had to go back to New Jersey, work for my brother selling furniture, which was not glamorous at all.
Mhm.
And my son had gone to live with his dad because he was now a teenager, and I just couldn't handle him. You know, he's 6 feet tall and out of control. And he came to Florida to live. And his father said, I'll stay with him until he finishes high school. And then my ex-husband went back to New Mexico because he's in forestry engineering, and he had to be in the woods, in the mountains.
Right.
And my son stayed here in Florida.
Uh-huh.
And that's what brought me to Florida, because 30 years ago, my son was in an accident.
Oh, wow.
And as a result of that accident, he became a quadriplegic.
Oh, man.
And so I came to Florida to support him because he wanted to live in a climate that would be reasonable for him. So he started a punk clothing, tattoo, and piercing parlor.
Oh, wow.
And that was very successful on Clematis Street. Many people knew it as the last resort, and we did that for many years.
Okay.
And didn't you know I was a punk? Couldn't you tell?
What's the matter with you, Barbara?
Well, from hippie to punk, it's not that big a stretch, really. You know, recovering hippie to punk. And then my son got married, and he went back to school and got his master's and was teaching at the university. And then they moved to North Carolina. So I had to find out what I was going to do for myself.
Right.
And I started having some back problems, and I went to see someone about my back, a chiropractor.
Mhm.
And I walked in her office, and she said, how would you like to learn how to take care of yourself? And Mikey, I knew she wasn't talking about my back.
Right.
And so I wound up going to an introduction to self-discovery,
Wow.
a complimentary introduction, which we still offer.
Mhm.
And I sat there and had an overview of self-discovery, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit,
Mhm.
and then the life perspective. And that was the best part, where you've been, where you were, and where you want to go.
Right.
And when I started looking at my pattern of always being unhappy, ensuring that everybody was doing something to me,
Mhm.
I realized that I was the common denominator.
You were.
And then it was suggested to me that it's in observer created reality, which is quantum physics.
Mhm.
I thought, wow, if I'm actually creating all these things in my life, I'm really powerful.
You really are.
So how do I create what I want, not what I don't want?
Right. Because if you
So
can
here I am.
create it for what you don't want, then you certainly
Exactly.
can create it for what you want.
Exactly. So here I am, 17 years old, still involved, 17 years later, still involved in this whole process, because it does work. At this point in my life, I don't have to do anything that doesn't work. And so I train people in this extraordinary strategy, how to, actually it's like magic, how to create and how to discreate what they want in their life.
Right.
And it's a strategy developed by a Marine for himself.
Uh-huh.
So the intent of the strategy is to give you the most direct, effective, and efficient technology to reveal the true self and become it, to identify with it as yourself, letting go of all limitations. and to become the total authority of your life. And
Wow.
that's what the strategy is about.
That's powerful.
Yeah, very
That's
potent.
powerful.
Yeah,
That's really powerful.
absolutely.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to tap into that in yourself,
Uh-huh.
to realize that you are it. You have everything you need.
Oh
All I do is
yes.
remind you of who you
Oh
are,
yes.
right?
Oh yes. Oh yes. All right. So I
Mhm.
think you started, you quickly, you maybe went into the first thing I had on my mind to ask you is like just kind of like how you got into this. But you started off telling me that you started off as a teacher and that you weren't satisfied. So I guess at somewhere there made you want to discover what your purpose was and what.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Who I was and what I'm doing here. Yeah. Don't you wonder about that? Who you are and what you're doing here,
All the
actually in
time.
reality, right? Yeah. It's more than just your
It's
job.
more than just your
It's more
job.
than just your job.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I really think that the people
Exactly.
who are really very happy are the people who have discovered what their true purpose is, and they're on a path to really realize their purpose.
Right. And I believe it changes throughout your life.
It
I
does.
don't think it's always the same thing. It's whatever you're doing at that time. I mean, you weren't always doing this, right?
No,
You've had a history of different things. Did you teach for a
I
while?
sure did. I taught for a
Right.
little bit.
And then,
I was guidance counselor at one point. I was insurance saleswoman at another point. I taught again
right.
at another point. So as
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so you change as the need
It's
arises.
an it's an evolution. If we're not evolving and growing, we're dying,
That's
right?
real.
Really. Just being a robotic behavior over and over and over. So if you're the same person that you were when you started out, you really got to look at what's going on here.
What's going on
You know,
here?
I Yeah, absolutely. It's fun. It's exciting to constantly reinvent. And whatever you're doing is right for you. If you're a housewife, that's extraordinary. Taking care of a home, domestic engineer, they call it, right? Managing all that,
Right,
right?
guys. So if you're taking care of a home, the rain, you're a domestic engineer.
Absolutely. Managing all that, most men can't do that.
Most men can't
They
do that.
just, right? Women do it beautifully and organize it and get the kids ready and manage the kids, and it's really a full-time job, and there's nothing wrong with that. And some women are more ambitious and want to go out in the world and be attorneys or doctors or salesperson. Whatever you're doing is right for you, as long as it's fulfilling.
As long as it's fulfilling. When it's not fulfilling,
Right.
that's when you start to have a little bit of problem.
Well, everything you do is because of the way you want to feel, right?
Well, there you go again.
Right? I'm just looking at those flowers. I'm looking at those flowers behind you. You have the flowers because they make you feel good,
They
right?
do make me feel good, yeah.
You're wearing those pretty silver earrings because they make you
Feel
feel
good,
good,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's the truth.
Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whoever you're with, at any activity, it's because how you want to feel.
How you want to feel. How you want to feel is just so important.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
how has your getting into this whole self-discovery field, how has that benefited you as a person?
Well, in many ways. First of all, when I first went to that first event,
Mhm.
that introduction, I had committee meetings, having committee meetings about committee meetings going on here all the time. Constantly, I should do this, I should do that. No. Constantly arguing with myself. Not only that, the guy in the circus with the plates, they spin the plates. That was going on. I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. Constantly in here.
Oh yeah.
And I realized after doing this work, when we're always in our head and are always thinking, it's because we don't want to feel. Because I didn't know what to do.
All right. So when we're always
Right?
in our head.
Right. Avoiding feeling. Right? Because what do you do with the feelings? I had no idea what to do with my feelings. And it scared me. And so I just kept this thing going all the time. And to be quite honest, I also drank alcoholically for 35 years because I didn't know how to cope with any of my feelings.
Oh my goodness.
Stopping drinking was not the issue. Changing the behavior was the issue. And when I came to self-discovery, I was able to change the behavior.
Oh my
And I had been
goodness.
sober 10 years. And I was sober 10 years when I came to self-discovery.
Oh my goodness.
So it was a great opportunity for me to learn about myself and also to learn compassion for myself and others. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And this is why when you're doing this
Absolutely.
now, you can have so much compassion for the people that you're working with.
And no judgment, because really a lot of this is about letting go of judgment of yourself and others. You know, we all are sitting little judging machines. They're too tall, they're too short, they're too fat, they're da 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 da. Sitting in here making up stories about things that aren't even real. So learning how to let go of that. Yeah, really.
Yes. Oh my
Myki,
goodness.
you know that when you're in here, this is a bad neighborhood. This is a terrible neighborhood.
It is.
I had one lady tell me it was a slum. She said, it's a slum.
It's
Stay out of
Stay
here.
out of it.
So self-discovery is an extraordinary strategy to learn how to operate from awareness.
From awareness.
From awareness, which is outside of here. It's getting out of your mind. It's getting out of here, because this is where all those stories, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'll never have, I don't deserve, well, all those old conditioning is.
Oh, yes.
You have to learn how to get out of there and release that stuff in order to create what you want.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Because you believe your own story. You told it to yourself so many times, you actually believe it.
Oh, yeah. You're getting ready to get a script for it. Oh, yeah.
Right. Exactly. So when I first started, I definitely had a lot of stories going on in my head about whatever those stories were. So the greatest gift for me was learning how to stop that.
Mm-hmm.
And then secondly, learning how to deal with all the feelings and emotions.
Right. But you really struck a good point a while ago, Barbara. You said when we do, it's because we don't want to feel. So we keep bombarding ourselves with different things to do because we don't want to stop. Because, oh my goodness, I never even did think of it.
Well, yeah. Well, what do you do with those feelings? I mean, how do you deal with them? So self-discovery is a genius strategy developed by Rob James, and he served some time in the Marines, and he had his own issues, and he knew that he had the ability to change things. And he worked very hard for many years on studying psychology, philosophy, religion, quantum physics, and he became self-actualized, and he realized that he wasn't the only one that had these issues. And so he created this strategy to help other people take command of their lives. Oh, yeah. So we're not at the effect of anyone or anything. You know, you don't have to go to every fight. You don't have to go to every fight you're invited to. You know, you can learn how to decide.
You don't have to go to every fight you're invited to. You can leave some. Oh my goodness. I've not heard that.
You know, yeah. Not being at the effect of people or circumstances is critical to our well-being. Mastery is really what my goal is. So people that are involved in self-discovery are people that are ambitious and driven and successful. And sometimes it's interesting, Myki, sometimes somebody can be really successful in their professional life and their personal life is terrible. Or the opposite, their personal life is terrific and their professional life isn't good. So learning that balance, that work-life balance, and having what you want and understanding how to do that. Most of us know more about our cell phones than we do about ourselves. This cell phone, every 2 years I turn my phone in and have to start over, right? I just got a new phone. I still don't know how to do it. But this thing that we occupy is our vehicle. We have it forever. So why not understand how we operate so we can maximize its potential? And that's really what we're talking about, right?
Oh, yes.
So this self-discovery supports people being more honest, responsible, compassionate, and powerful in the highest meaning of the word, to really live their true self, to live their destiny. Yeah.
Very good. All right. Now, when I was looking at, when I was looking at you on the internet, I noticed that you mentioned 13 life-changing techniques. Now, I don't know if you're not going to go into all of them, but tell us a little bit about those techniques.
Sure. So if you imagine a triangle, okay, at the top of the triangle is awareness.
Awareness.
Right? You can't do anything without awareness. I mean, if you have a cut on your leg and it's bleeding, you don't even know it, right? You need to be aware of it, right? That's the beginning. And awareness, you know what it feels like? Myki, did you ever play a sport?
Yeah.
What sport did you play?
I played tennis.
Okay.
Played netball.
Okay. And do you dance or sing? Do you enjoy those things?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I thought
so when you're doing
maybe
those
I would have
things,
trained for American Idol.
Yeah. Why not? So when you're doing what you love, you're completely in what they call the zone, right?
Oh yeah,
Right. So what's it like for you when you're in the zone? What does it feel like?
it does feel good. It feels
Right?
peaceful,
Are
and
you
you're happy.
right? Right. And when you're playing tennis, are you thinking about lunch?
Not really.
You're just
No.
yeah, you're right there in that moment, right?
Yep.
So learning to live like that all the time, would that be helpful?
Oh yeah.
No. So that's what we teach you. There's a technique on just being in the zone all the time, and I'll show you how to do that before we're finished, okay? And for your listeners as well. All right? It's very powerful.
Uh-huh.
It's very powerful. That's the top of the triangle. And that's awareness, right?
All
The
right.
bottom of the
Awareness.
triangle is conscious. The bottom of the triangle is consciousness. So
Consciousness.
consciousness comes in two flavors. It either feels good or it doesn't feel good. Okay? We live in a dual universe. You wouldn't know happy without sad. You wouldn't know up without down. You wouldn't know dark without light. So we have duality, right? So from awareness, you look at limitation.
Uh-huh.
Limitation doesn't feel good. Limitation doesn't feel good. As long as you're a human in a body, there's going to be things that are limiting.
Right.
It's not like I'm doing lobotomies on anybody. You're going to be alive and you're going to experience things, right?
Uh-huh.
Learning how to manage the limitation is critical, because otherwise sometimes we get stuck in it and it plays over and over and over. And it resigns. Sometimes it winds up being sometimes it becomes depression.
Oh yeah.
Right? And people can get depressed for days, weeks, months, sometimes years in depression. So learning how to manage the limiting beliefs, learning how to manage those limitations is critical to our well-being. So from awareness, I train you in a strategy to go into the limitations, to experience them deliberately, to release them so that you have enough free attention to create what you want. Okay?
Okay.
And the other side is empowerment. Empowerment feels good. You have beliefs that make you feel good, right?
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times a lot of people try to get away from the unhappiness for the limitation and get to happiness, right? I'm happy. Everything's going to be wonderful. Everything's going to be terrific. We do positive thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're saying I'm happy, it's because you're unhappy.
But saying I'm happy makes you feel better.
But it's temporary. It's temporary. You're fooling yourself, and it's very stressful also, because you're lying to yourself. So what we do is we teach you how to go in. It's a little bit like painting over rust. If you imagine something that's rusty and you put paint on it, what do you imagine happens?
In a matter of a while, the rust starts to
exactly.
Yeah.
So all that positive thinking is just very temporary. So in this strategy, we teach you from awareness to go into the limitation, release it energetically, and then you have enough free attention to create what you want. And then it's going to work.
Right.
Positive thinking is great, but you have to go after the limitation first. So that's
right.
There's
right. So positive thinking is great
if you address the limitation.
But you have
otherwise
to
you're lying to yourself. Right. Right. So there's four techniques at the top of the triangle. It's all awareness. There's two techniques that we use for limitation to experience them deliberately. We go after them ahead of time instead of being blindsided, right? Dig that stuff up. And the thing is, it's not like therapy, because it's very fast. It's very fast because you're really just relying on how it feels, and you can access those feelings pretty quickly. And then,
so give me 1 second, Barbara. Give me one second.
Sure.
Let me just pause for 1 second. Just welcome everybody who's here. I want to welcome everybody who's here in the chat with me. I thank you so much for warming my presence. I thank you so much for coming out to hear my guest. I want to welcome, I'm going to start from the top to give Barbara a chance to breathe a little bit, because I am coming back at her. We want to welcome Chen Chen Official, Doreen Humbe, Great Destiny TV. We want to welcome Sam. We thank you so much, Sam. We want to welcome Toya's Kitchen. We thank you so very much. We want to welcome Michelle, all the way from the Philippines. We welcome you. We want to welcome Mama's Handprint, Kingston, Jamaica. We welcome you. We want to welcome Heather Daly. I don't know if it's Heather or if it's Heather's little one, but whoever it is, welcome you. We thank you so very much for coming. And I think I have welcomed everybody. I thank you so much for being here. All right, Barbara, keep going.
So
Go ahead.
the other techniques are empowerment. So it's about how to deliberately feel good, right? How to deliberately feel good, how to get in touch with your intuition and to trust it and to follow it. Right. You know, my head should be flat from all the times that I knew something and didn't follow it. Haven't you done that as well?
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
You know something and you don't follow it. So really learning how to access your intuition and to trust it and to follow it is a critical skill. Then there's another technique on, it's really like a recipe for success. You follow these steps in order to create what you want, because you are creating your reality.
You are creating your reality.
You want to create, you want to create what you prefer, not what you don't prefer, right?
Sure.
So you want to be sure that you do that. And then there's a technique on how to really witness yourself and not get so engaged in the drama, because we all have a lot of drama.
Don't we?
Yeah, I never thought I did, but I do. And then the other one, and there's another one on identities. You know, we have lots of different ways we show up, right? Like very deliberately right now, I'm in a trainer identity, but I have a grandma identity. I have a friend identity. I have a know-it-all identity.
Oh, wow. Right? You have that too?
Absolutely. We're all human, right? Nothing wrong with having identities and different ways we show up. But the question is it deliberate and is it serving us?
Right.
And if it's not, then going after it, and I call it doing an exorcism when you release them. So it's a powerful strategy. You know, Myki, it's really about connecting with who you really are. You know that this is just our vehicle that we occupy, right? This isn't who you are.
Right.
Right? It's like our car that we drive. And when you connect with your true self, your higher self, your source, that's really operating with the gifts that we were given. Right?
That's
we
really
all
true.
have. Yeah.
That's really true.
So it's not religious at all.
No.
It says I believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Right.
And learning how to be a spiritual warrior for yourself, I think, is critical to our well-being.
It's really critical to our well-being, especially in these times. Especially in these times.
Anytime, but especially now. Well, you talked to me about COVID, right? And how it affects you, right?
Right.
I'm sure your listeners have been at the effect of COVID as well.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. So maybe
and we
you
were
should tell us
talking also.
How has COVID influenced or not influenced your practice?
For me, I've been busier than ever. Unfortunately, people forced to stay home. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people now had to work from home. Offices closed. And what happens is so many people would get out. Let's say it's a gentleman, right? He leaves every day in the morning and he comes home in the evening. The kids are about to eat dinner and go to bed and you don't even see them, right? Now they're interacting with the whole family all day. If you don't think that's stressful.
It is.
Yeah, it's very stressful.
Oh yeah.
It's very stressful.
Because they're not
for men and women. And
yeah.
Right. And for kids, the kids no longer go to school. They sit in front of a computer all day. That's not healthy.
No.
And it's very, very stressful. Very stressful for them. And mom can't have any life of her own. She's got to be there orchestrating the whole thing, right? So there's been a lot of domestic abuse. There's been child abuse. There's a lot of divorce. Unfortunately, a lot of suicides. A lot of things have come up. A huge amount. Because of this COVID, it's been very, very stressful on many people.
It's so stressful on so many people.
Yeah, right. So learning how to cope with your stress and learning is a big part of it. A big part of it, because stress kills. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
It just makes us sick. It makes us sick. We bury it and bury it and bury it. And pretty soon we wonder why we have high blood pressure, fibromyalgia, cancer, all kinds of things, all related to stress.
All related to stress. My goodness.
Right.
All right, guys.
Well, laughter is a great way to release it, though. You know
yeah,
that, right?
I know that. Well, that has been my go-to.
Yeah.
That has been my go-to. Believe you me, because it really does switch the emotion. I mean, but like you said, it's temporary, but it really can just stop. It makes you stop, and you switch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes. So, who are your ideal clients, Barbara?
My ideal clients are people who are ambitious and driven and successful and know that they're not being the highest and best and desire to be their highest and
All
best.
right. Greg is saying hello, Barbara. Greg says hi, Barbara.
Hi, Greg. Do I
Greg
know
is
Greg?
watching you from the Philippines as well. Oh my
Oh, good.
goodness.
Hi, Greg.
Right. I think you're my latest guest, Greg. I just want to welcome you. If there's somebody who came on after I welcome the group, I want to welcome you as well. I thank you so much for being here. All right, and we're talking with.
Mikey,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say maybe we can find out from your guests what's their biggest challenge
All right.
and how do they deal with it.
Well, all right. So Barbara's throwing out a question for you guys. I mean, what is your biggest challenge? Is there anything that's challenging you right now? You could throw it in the chat, and maybe it's something that she could pick up, either say one or two words about it now, or at the end, I'm going to also leave her contact so that if anybody wants, she does have a free consult, and it's really very thorough. I've never done it, but I mean, I've listened to her talk about it. So at the end, I'm going to have her information in the chat. But for right now, what is anyone's greatest challenge right now? If you throw it in the chat, Barbara will pick it up and we could have a discussion about it. Is there anything that's challenging you right at this present time? Is it your fault?
Either personally or professionally. Absolutely.
Oh my
Whatever's
goodness.
showing up in your life, is because of you. You're creating it.
You're creating
The question
it.
is why.
So true. I believe that with all of my heart.
Yeah.
Now, Barbara, why do you
Yeah.
think that this training is just so important to people? While they're thinking about the challenge that they have, why do you think this self-discovery training is
Because
so...
I believe that we're souls on a journey, and we're going to get. There's nowhere to get, and there's nothing to do. But if we can have this journey with grace and empowerment and joy, I believe we can have heaven on earth. I don't think it has to be a nightmare.
I believe you.
You know, when I think when I think about somebody like Nelson Mandela, who spent 25 years in a prison and came out more empowered than ever.
Right.
You know, he found the secret of connecting with his true self, his higher self. And this journey helps you do that. It helps you connect with who you really are. And we were all given free will. And learning that we are not at the effect of anyone or anything. We're not victims. We actually can create what we want. What a gift. What a blessing.
It's a blessing.
So it really is a blessing. And I believe that we have an opportunity if we choose to actually be our highest and best and create a different world for not only ourselves, but everyone. Gandhi said so beautifully, be the change you want to see. I can't change anybody. Taking care of me is a full-time job, but I can hold the space. Well, I can hold the space and help other people learn how to manage themselves. It's very empowering. And why would you want to be less than your greatest? Why would you want to be less than your best?
Right. All right. No.
And it's really returning to a human being. Yeah.
I noticed, Barbara, that you have one-to-one sessions, you have group sessions, you have workshops. Tell me a little bit about your workshops. What goes on there?
Sure.
Go ahead.
So workshops are 2-day events.
2-day events.
And all of them, and they're experiential. In other words, we don't lecture. We present the concept and then you get to experience it. And I'm going to show you a technique before we're finished so you'll have an idea of what I'm saying. Because information is not transformation, right? You can read about stuff, you can talk about stuff, you can study stuff, but until you actually experience it, you don't know what it is.
Right. So information is not transformation.
No, whether it's sex or cooking, either way, you have to experience it in order to know, have a frame of reference, and then you can go back to it. Right. So workshops are 2-day events. The first part of the first day is experiential and informational. You get a little background on self-discovery, and I do that in the intro as well. And then right before lunch on the first day, we kiss the mind goodbye and we start techniques.
Kiss the mind
and
goodbye.
Each technique is read. Yep. And you start experiencing. And so by the end of the first day, you've really learned to quiet this thing.
Oh, my
And it's extraordinary. It's really extraordinary. And then the second day, so that's awareness, top of the triangle. And then the second day, we start out with a little review, and then we go into limitations. And it's all done transpersonally. It's in a writing technique. People start discovering their own limitations. They're led through it. And you never have to expose that to anybody in the group. That's between you and you. But really getting real about how you get in your own way and how you sabotage yourself. And then you learn how to release that, because that brings up a lot of feelings. Let me back up a little bit. Everything is energy and information.
Tell us, what are some self-sabotaging beliefs?
Well, what's one of yours?
Come on, you can't put me on the spot.
Procrastination.
I just
Remember we talked earlier?
I had to go to the people, and maybe that's not true. Maybe they can come to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Procrastination is a big sabotage, right?
Okay.
People pleasing is a big sabotage, right? Second guessing ourselves is a big sabotage, right? I used to go to the gym, work out, and then go back and get ice cream to reward myself. That might be considered a sabotage.
Not a reward.
We all have it, right? We all have sabotage patterns, and it's okay. It's part of being human. It's becoming aware of them, right?
Right.
And then if you choose to change them, okay. And if you don't, that's okay too. It's just a choice. It's just a choice. It really is. So we learn about how to become aware of them. Awareness is the key to everything. You know that, Myki.
Yes.
You were just telling me earlier how you found that it's better to prepare for your show ahead of time and not wait until the last minute, because that waiting is what's procrastinating, right?
Yeah.
So learning how to prepare ahead of time. Another procrastination or another sabotage is overwhelm, not saying no.
Right.
And I certainly have, that's one of mine. I'll say, oh, of course I'll take care of it. Of course. And then I wonder why I'm exhausted because I'm overwhelmed. So learning how to say no, right? It's a big one.
Right.
It's a big one. So everybody has their theme, whatever they do, right? And so the second day is the limitations. And then after lunch, once we've released them, then we can start an empowerment. So it's how to deliberately feel good, no matter what's going on, how to feel good, how to get in touch with your intuition and trust it and follow it, how to create, there's a recipe for your success, how to create what you want and how to stay focused. That's critical, to stay focused and present.
Oh my goodness.
Another one on how to be aware of yourself no matter what's going on and not be so engaged in the drama. So witness yourself more. And my all-time favorite is becoming aware of the identities. Becoming aware of the different ways we show up in the world.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with having different roles we play, but are the roles deliberate and are they serving us?
Right.
And if they're not, making changes. Have you ever met somebody that always tells jokes? Always tells jokes. It's usually because they don't want to feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Right? So once they become aware of that, is the joke really serving them or are they just avoiding feeling? And that's what we talked about earlier, remember? That when somebody's thinking all the time, which most of us do, it's because we don't want to feel, because we don't know what to do with the feelings.
Right.
So learning how to manage those feelings and learning how to release the ones that don't feel good, to have more joy, more happiness, more fulfillment in our life.
Right. I pause again to say, guys, if there's anybody in the chat with anything that challenges you at this time, is there anybody with something that you want to share that challenges you at this time? Barbara had thrown the question out. Is there anything that challenges you? I might get in tongue-tied. Put it down in the chat, and it's something that maybe she could talk about a little bit. All right, so we are here, guys, and we're talking to self-mastery. Am I going to get it wrong or am I going to get it right? Say it again, Barbara. Give me your chat.
Barbara Socher, self-discovery life mastery trainer.
Self-discovery life mastery. It's a mouthful,
It is. I know. Absolutely.
Yes. So do you have to have some kind of a license to get this thing done?
No, when I did this, I told you my son and I had a punk clothing, tattoo, and piercing parlors. That's what I did right before this, right? The author of the work, Rob James, he trains all the trainers. And we're constantly training. We spend thousands and thousands of hours training. And so then we are approved of by him. And then he licenses us to train people in his copyrighted material.
Okay.
So it's very specific. And I can't imagine anybody. It's like we're in the Marines. I mean, one of the things I learned is that pain is weakness leaving the body. I mean, this is it's like I'm in the Marines.
Weakness leaving the body.
That's some of the Marines. I mean, it's really like learn how to be your powerful self. Learn how to be the best you can be. And we have a boot camp coming up next week. We have workshops every other month or so, and there's different levels of the workshops. There's a basic workshop, then some more advanced, and then there's another more advanced workshop, and there's a relationship course. It's for people that really want to evolve and to be their highest and best, and to be in a community with other people who are also interested in being their highest and best.
Right.
People that are interested in talking more about what's really important in their lives and not last year's snow,
Right. Now, maybe you should tell them at this point, Barbara, tell them about your one-to-one, that consultation that you give for free,
Sure.
that you really do such a detailed training.
In the complimentary introduction.
All right, so listen up, guys. She has a present for you.
Right. So in the complimentary introduction, you connect with me. We set an appointment. I send you a brochure about 9 pages, and we spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours, an overview of self-discovery and how it works so you understand it experientially, and then your life perspective, where you've been, where you are, where you want to go, and you're going to reveal to yourself how you sabotage yourself, what you do to get in your own way, because you're going to start seeing behaviors that repeat throughout your life. For example, I've had people that had 3 or 4 marriages. I don't have any judgment about it, but you're the common denominator, right? When I moved around,
you keep saying that. It's not me.
It's always them, right? Right. And it winds up being the same scenario. I've talked to my clients, and they're having challenges in relationship, and I work with couples and say, you can leave. That's not the point. You're still going to be there. So why not work it out with the person that you're with?
Right.
And then if you decide, make your decisions from inspiration and intuition, not desperation and irritation. Because wherever you go, there you are. I tried it. I went from New Jersey to New Mexico, California, and back again. And I was everywhere I went. I couldn't get away from myself. One of the people there's somebody that was in one of our workshops recently, and he was talking about how he went to Bali. He gave up on everything. He went to Bali to get away from himself. Well, Bali wasn't far enough because he was still there, right?
God.
So he came back, and now he's doing his work, and his life is changing. You're the common denominator. If the change, it's going to be, it's up to me. Really, personal responsibility.
It's up to me.
And I'll give you an example. You had asked me about an example of somebody's story that changed dramatically, right?
Right. So I was coming to that now. So you're going to tell us a story of somebody that you've coached or that you've worked with who's had a dramatic change.
Dramatic change in his life. He worked with me for a number of years. He's very successful. He changed careers from one career. He was successful already, but he wasn't really fulfilled or happy. Started another career, taking off like crazy. And he's been with his same partner for a number of years. Probably he's been with her about 8 years when we started working together. And she wasn't interested in the work at all. She said, no, she couldn't hear it, didn't want to hear it, didn't want to know about it. And the relationship, we loved each other very much, but it just wasn't going well.
Right.
And it was making him more and more unhappy. It was very embarrassing, many times behaviors. And one day she agreed to do a one-on-one with me. And we spent about 2 hours together, and she cried through the whole thing. I mean, she just cried. She didn't say much, but she cried. 2 years later, we're out to dinner because we're friends. And we're sitting at dinner, and she starts tugging on my sleeve. She said, and I said, what is it? I said, the food will be out in a minute. She said, no, I want your attention. What is it? What do you want? Do you want something to drink now? She said, I'm ready. You're ready? You're ready for what? I'm ready to do the work. She did 3 workshops in a row, and their entire relationship has changed, and now they got engaged and they're getting married.
Aww.
A total turnaround because she wasn't ready before. She couldn't see it. And he had to be willing to let go.
Oh, yeah.
He had to be willing to let go because, when you pull too hard, when you resist a lot. Do you ever do that Chinese finger puzzle with a little tube? Do you ever see that thing?
No, I don't remember.
It's straw. Okay, so it's a straw tube, and you put your fingers in it. When you pull your fingers out, it gets tighter, and you can't get your fingers out.
Okay.
You have to release. So anything you resist is going to persist.
And get
When
tired.
he was finally when he was finally willing to release and stop resisting, she shifted and totally changed her entire life
Oh,
and their
wow.
relationship. Yeah.
So
It's
nice.
beautiful, beautiful. Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. So I guess nobody out there has any issues that they want to
Or
talk about, and that's
they're
fine.
probably a little scared. All right, well, guys, I want to welcome. Let's see, I saw Zaza Bang coming later on, and now I see Professor Fox. I thank you so very much for coming. And if there's anybody who came after the last time I greeted and I didn't say your name, I want to welcome you and thank you so very much for coming. All right, so guys, remember now that Barbara can talk with you. It doesn't matter where you are. She has this 1 hour just free consultation, and I mean, if maybe you don't want to talk about the challenge that you might be having right here and now, maybe you don't want to put it down in the chat, but I am going to share. Well, Barbara, let's see, what do you want me to give them? Do you want, is it an email, do you have a number? What do you want to share with the chat in terms of how they'll be able to reach you?
Well, I have a sure. Well, I love texts, so I'm become this text more than emails. Emails I get overwhelmed with. There's so many of them, right?
Okay.
There's hundreds of them, right? So text is
All right.
561
I'm
543
5561
543 2
4. I'm not writing numbers. 43
2944.
29. My daughter is laughing so hard and it's coming all the way down here. Hold on, Barbara. I'm trying to.
Sure, no problem.
All right, so there it is, guys. 561 543 2944. That is
That's my
the way that you
that's my
can
direct
reach
number.
Barbara in the event that you would like to have that 1 hour free consultation with her just to do a self-discovery session. It's not a bad idea, guys, because
And
something,
there's no obligation.
right, there's no
No
obligation.
obligation.
You don't, she's not trying to put you into a corner.
No. So we do I do workshops and I do one-on-one training. And one-on-one training, I train you specifically in the techniques and show you how to apply them to your life.
Okay.
The workshop is more generic. But basically it's about where do you feel it, how does it feel, and how is it practical. This is a very practical strategy. If it's not practical, it's pointless.
Right.
You need things you can apply every day, increase your self-awareness, be able to become aware of your stress and release it, be able to discover your unconscious sabotage patterns and release them, be able to manage yourself to have more energy, more vitality, more life force, be able to have mental clarity. These are all critical things to your well-being and your success.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mental clarity, and I'm telling you, yeah.
And to be able to succeed in business or any chosen undertaking you have, these are all skills that you can apply in a practical method.
Yeah.
I work with young people. Workshops we start at 17, but one-on-one I start at about 15, depending on the maturity level.
Right.
Yeah. Because a lot of young people have a lot of stress.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't know how to manage it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. So there you go. You have Barbara's contact in the event. Somebody's asking you if you have a YouTube channel. You said there's a channel for.
Actually,
right. What's the title of it?
I don't know. I'll have to send it to you, quite honestly. I usually go to the website. The website is for self-discovery. It's SD Life, LIFE, Mastery, MASTERY.com. SDLifemastery.com.
All right, so that's her website there, SDLifemastery.com. Guys, I really think you should make an effort to do that self-discovery session with Barbara. You'd be so surprised to see maybe some of the limiting beliefs that you have and some things that you're saying, it's not me. But it could very well be you. Because sometimes we stand in our own way.
Myki, on that website, on the right-hand corner, there's a box and it takes you to the YouTube. You just click on it. It takes you to a technique, and I'm happy to share the technique if we have time.
Yeah, well, we still have maybe 15 or so minutes, so shoot.
Okay. So when we talk about the past, we're talking about it from now, right?
Right.
When we talk about the future, we're talking about it from now. So I'm going to suggest to you that now is the only time we have. It's not linear.
Right.
Okay? So I'm going to invite you and your listeners to look around your room, wherever you are, and become aware of the sense of sight. And just notice what you see. Deliberately direct your attention out and become aware of what you see. Notice sizes and shapes and colors and shadows and lighting and textures. Without judgment and without opinion. You're not taking inventory. You're simply noticing what you see. You're not staring at any one object. You're aware of the various sizes, shapes, and colors, shadows, lighting, textures, reflections. And as you're doing that, now you're going to add the sense of sound. Besides the sound of my voice, any subtle sounds you hear in the background, even your own breath. Keep directing your attention out on sight and sound. In addition to sight and sound, now I would like you to add the sense of touch. Feel the weight of your body in the chair, the temperature of the air against your skin. Gently touch your skin, even if you just scratch your arm, just lightly with your finger. Feel your clothes where they touch your body. All the time, keeping your attention on sight and sound, and now it's touch, all three simultaneously. See, hear, and feel. A complete connection with the room you're in or the space you're in. Oh, there you go. There you go. How are you feeling, Myki?
Calm.
Calm.
Yeah.
I would like to know how your listeners are feeling as well.
All right, guys. So if you're following along with us, put in the chat, how are you feeling? Were you doing the little exercise? Tell me in the chat, how are you feeling?
Yeah. And the beauty of this, Myki, is you can do it anywhere, anytime. You don't have to go into a room and light a candle and say a mantra. It's simply you knew how to see, hear, and feel. I showed you how to be deliberate. And learning to live deliberately is what self-discovery is about.
Right.
Instead of automatic.
Learning to be deliberate.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, guys. So
this work is.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I shared Barbara's number in the chat. It's 561-543-2944. That's her personal number, and she's allowed you to have it because she says she has a 1-hour consultation that is free. It's a self-discovery session, and you're not obligated. You take the session with her, and it feels like, and if you want to talk to her again, fine. If you don't, fine. But I think you should grab the opportunity because it's not a bad idea. I am going to take the opportunity to talk with her because maybe there are some things that she could help me to come up with, to give me some more clarity, because I don't think there's anyone who could not benefit from some clarity. It's just so good. Sure. All right. So is there
this body?
Go ahead, Barbara.
I was just going to say this body of work is on the cutting edge of consciousness technology. It's evolutionary and revolutionary. There's lots of programs out there, but this is so powerful, and I guarantee it. If you decide to work with me, you get a contract, and on the bottom of the contract, if you are not totally satisfied, your investment is returned, whether it's personal training or a workshop.
Wow.
Nobody does that.
Wow.
Nobody does that because this works. Not out to fool anybody. This is about really learning to be your highest and best. Why not? You're going to be on the planet anyway, right?
All right, guys. So here's it again. Barbara is saying you get that consult, and if you even started to work with her and you weren't satisfied, she returns your money and she doesn't ask any questions. That is amazing. Oh my goodness! I was still hoping. So somebody else said they felt calm. Somebody said likewise. Same
Oh,
here.
good.
Yeah. So
Good.
it's a calming.
Good.
I'm not so sure if everybody else was, yeah, what All right, guys. So it's coming up to time. Is there anybody who has any questions that you want to throw at Barbara? Is there anybody who is thinking maybe of taking up the challenge of doing the self-discovery session? Am I going to be alone? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Maybe I'm afraid of what I might even discover, but for what it's worth, I'm going to do it as well. Oh my goodness! Because sometimes,
Well,
like you
that's
said,
true, Mikey. No, that's true. Yeah.
you keep yourself busy because you don't want to. You don't want to feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe you need
Exactly.
to pause to
Exactly.
feel.
Well, that's why we have a body, to enable us to feel things, right?
Right.
So self-discovery is about returning to a human being instead of a human doing.
Self-discovery is
human
returning to the human being instead of the human doing. Yeah, because we really run around. We really run around a lot. Oh my goodness, who would have thought? When did I meet you, though, Barbara? It's quite a while now. It's quite a while now.
Probably networking years ago.
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so good that we've kind of fostered a relationship. And like I said,
Yeah.
you've been in my thoughts in recent time. I've thought about, and I always remember how you always said, there's no pressure, and I get that strong feeling. I'm going to speak with you. I'm just going to sit and
Yeah.
and maybe you could help me to iron out some of the kinks.
Mikey, a lot of people, and I appreciate you saying that, a fear. A lot of people are afraid of what they're going to discover, but what you don't know can hurt you.
What you don't know can hurt you. That's true. Yeah.
And actually, you know it, but you don't want to feel it.
Right. You don't want to feel it.
I help you feel
You
it.
You don't want it to be brought to your awareness. Oh my goodness, it was such a pleasure having you. It was really such a pleasure having you. My guest, it was a pleasure having you as well. I was kind of hoping that you'd be a little less shy. I'm hoping that some of you have taken Barbara's number, and I'm kind of hoping that one of you will venture out, or some of you will venture out to have this self-discovery chat with her. I always am in contact with her. So if for any reason somebody wants to reach out to her later down, I am always going to have her contact, and I'll make that available to you. Once
again,
what,
Mikey?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Sometimes somebody's not ready, but we planted seeds today.
Yeah.
Planted the seeds, and sometimes I have people call me after years. They say, you know what? I remember you saying this, and I'm ready now.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be right now. It's when you're ready.
Now. Yeah. You planted the seeds.
That's it.
Oh my goodness. I really want to thank you all for coming. And time really does fly when we're having fun. So nice, Barbara. My door is always open. If you and if you wanted to advertise an event coming up, you could tell me, and then just before my show, I'll make room to advertise. So that's
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's very kind of you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very kind of you.
Oh yeah. All right. So
I do have a workshop November 6th and 7th.
All right. So there you go, November 6th and 7th. And OB 6.
But that's for people that are here, not for people in the Philippines.
Okay, because you're not.
Live.
Yeah. It's going to be
Fort Lauderdale.
It's going to be at a physical location. November 6th and 7th. It's a workshop. So what makes you think they won't fly over from the Philippines?
Oh, I have people that do that. We do have people that come in from all over the world for these workshops.
There you go.
Oh, absolutely. Australia, one. France, Germany, England, absolutely. Yes. No question.
Right.
Thank you, Mikey.
Right. Doreen is saying she really enjoyed the show. She really enjoyed having you, Barbara.
Thank you.
I don't know if she might consider doing the self discovery. I'm going to do it though. I'm going to talk with you because this little self discovery here. Lots of things you could discover, and lots of things you could see what you have been masking and what you've been masking behind. It's getting out all that.
Yeah.
It's getting out. Oh my goodness! Well, it's that good time, guys. I thank you all so very much for coming. Barbara, I thank you so much for coming. It was such a pleasant evening. You know something, we tend to laugh here, and sometimes I pick a topic and I'm not so sure where it's gonna go, but I think we always end up having some laughs.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Mama's handprint is saying she really had a good time. She enjoyed the conversation and she enjoyed every moment. And I thank you so very
Oh,
much.
good.
And listen, you're welcome to. Are you on WhatsApp, Barbara?
No, I have an Android phone, so it's not so great. I do Zoom a lot.
Okay. I'm not so sure if the Android has anything to do with WhatsApp, though. I think you could get on WhatsApp because
Oh
if you
no.
got
Oh, I'll
if you
try it
had
then.
WhatsApp, then you
Sure.
could talk to the Philippines for free, and they could talk to you for free.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. All right, guys. So remember
Sure.
that I said seize the opportunity to do the self-discovery session with Barbara. It couldn't hurt. It could not hurt. It's just, and she's just as easy as Sunday morning as you see her here. Oh my goodness. I thank you all so very much for coming out. It's been a nice long hour and you stayed with me. I thank you all so very much. I thank you so much, Barbara. We've learned so much tonight. There's something that resonates.
Thank you.
Well, you said we do because we don't want to feel. And you're changing stuff now so that we become human beings and not human doings. Oh, man. That's food for thought, guys. I'll leave you with that. Oh, my goodness. It was so good to have you. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much.
You're so
I
very
really
welcome.
appreciate you inviting me. Take care, honey. Talk to you soon.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye now. Bye, guys.